Welcome to the Sanity Project Podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hello, everybody. This is Joanne Victoria with another amazing episode of the Sanity Project Podcast. You are here to discover a life of clarity, confidence, sanity, and entrepreneurial success. Our guest today is Yigal Adato. Yigal Adato is a business and leadership coach who has been in the trenches, managed hundreds of team members, and knows what it takes to make leaders and businesses successful. He helps business owners across the country and implement battle-tested systems and strategies into their businesses so they can make more money, have less stress, and live that epic life we all want for ourselves and our families. Welcome to the show, Yigal Adato.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm glad that you're here because we always need good information about leaders because the message is not getting across.
Yeah, every day.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying that every day I encounter more and more business professionals, owners who were never taught leadership. They were taught how to do business. And if they just were able to unlock the leadership, like we talked about, they'd have less stress and make more money.
Well, I think they're scared right now. I don't know what your take on it is. And they are just reacting to what's put in front of them, and they don't know what to do. And that's why we're here. Do you think they're frightened?
I think there's a sense of fear. Obviously, there's so much changing in the, business climate today, trying to find good people, the economy, those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I feel like great leaders are used to pivoting. They're not afraid of making a move. Obviously, they have to get the information, be in sync with their team and themselves. That's why we talk about internal leadership, and I'll talk about that some more. But most importantly, leaders know that the road isn't going to be perfectly made. There's going to be bumps and roadblocks, and that's what leadership is all about, is being able to get over those roads with bumps and roadblocks in a manner where you don't destroy themselves, their teams, their families, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the headlines where all of these large companies are firing thousands of people, I just think are red flags. And they're not really good for the economy because they make people, the employees are frightened. Yet I noticed that what is it? Let's just say one of them is firing 10,000 people. But they come from all over the company. And then I'm familiar with San Francisco. And then they said, the San Francisco store is only firing 700. Well, that's not that many in the big scheme of things.
Listen, I agree. And I also believe that the climate of those tech companies isn't necessarily the climate of the small business owner. What I mean by that is I spoke at a restaurant conference and a commercial cleaning conference, and they're hiring nonstop. They can't get enough people. So I think a lot of times we look at these big tech companies to give us the thermostat of what's going on in business. And I think it's the wrong
industry
and the perspective to have.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And that's why I'm irritated with these companies who are coming out with these headlines. Yeah, we're laying off, 5 million people. And what's his name from Amazon, Jeff
Bezos.
Jeff Bezos is saying, don't buy a car, don't buy a TV. You're scaring people more than you need to. I think people know how to, if they want a car, they know how to do that. If they want a TV, they know how to do that. They don't need Jeff Bezos telling them.
I think that we're coming into a climate where there is a recession. In my past life, I owned a chain of pawn shops, and I'm still very connected to the pawn shop industry. And we're seeing an extreme amount of lending happening. And when that happens, we know that the economy is not doing as well.
Right.
It doesn't mean your business can't thrive and make more money than it's ever made. That's the caveat here. You've got to understand that just because the economy isn't doing well doesn't mean you can't do extremely well.
Well, especially if you're talking about the restaurant and commercial cleaning industry. They always need help.
Always.
Always. Nothing is ever going to stop there.
Plumbing, electrical. I have a friend who is in the remodeling business. And she's like, Yigal, I don't know what people are talking about the economy. I've never remodeled more homes in my life. It's booming. And so a lot of times, the news is saying something they want to scare us. These big companies are taking out reports of what's going on. But it's not the truth of what's actually happening in our business. And it shouldn't be. And as leaders, we should be able to pivot, make moves, think outside the box to still have incredible success during these times.
Yeah. How would you suggest that a leader of a small business, what are you defining as small? 50,000? Everybody's got a different concept of what's
Are you talking like
is.
dollar amount?
No, not dollar amount. No, the amount of business that they do per year.
Oh, a small business for me, you're probably looking at under $1 million. That's for me a small business. I think the SBA's title of small business is under 500 employees and under $5 million. Like that's the SBA government's definition of that, right? So, and that's a very big, broad term. I mean, most businesses are under $5 million. That's just the truth. And so I think the number one thing that business leaders need to do is it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. They have to stop lying to themselves and they have to get massive clarity on what they want. They have to get massive clarity on what's going on in their industry. And they have to give that clarity to their team in order to serve their customers. Because when you don't have the clarity, you have confusion, which causes inaction. And so a lot of people come to work, open up their laptop, expecting leads to come in. They show up to their team, hoping that the team does the work that they're supposed to do. Because of this lack of honesty as to what's actually happening.
Yeah, that's a big problem right now. Clarity is a huge concept, and most people do not have it.
Again, I go back to my original comment where I'm a third generation entrepreneur. My grandfather, my father, all my uncles, my brother, they'll have their own businesses. And they taught me how to do business. They taught me how to sell something in exchange for money. But they never actually taught me business. They never taught me finances. They never taught me how to build a culture and leadership, strategy. And I think a lot of times business owners, so for me, there's 3 levels of business owners. Okay. You have the tradesperson, the plumber who's going out there doing all of their work, the marketing person who's doing all of their work. It's a tradesperson, right?
Right.
Then you have business owner. Business owner is starting to hire on team, bring out some outside resources. Maybe they hire out their bookkeeping, their HR, those types of things, but they're still doing a big chunk of the work.
Right.
And then you have a real entrepreneur. And a real entrepreneur is somebody who can step out of the business and the business will still run without them. And our goal as business professionals and leaders is to go from tradesperson to business owner to entrepreneur. We talk about entrepreneurship a lot. And I'm an entrepreneur. And what do you do? I sell this one product. How many people on your team? 1 person. And for me, a true entrepreneur can step out of the business and the business can still run and you can open up another business. And there's stages to get from one to the other. And the most important thing to know, and we talked about this kind of like in the pre-interview, is it's all based on leadership. What type of leader are you? Can you build a team, the culture? What are you learning? What do you not know and have to invest in yourself to be able to know? And a lot of times I feel like people want to skip levels. And that's a detriment to not just their business, but to themselves, to their families, to their relationships as well.
Is there any particular level that they want to skip that you have found that has been standing out?
So I think that the business owner section is people try to skip. They want to go from tradesperson to entrepreneur right away. It's like taking a car from 0 to 120, but you're in a car that doesn't have the right gas, oil, or the right engine to do it.
Got it.
And creating and unlocking your leadership is step number one. So we talk about kind of like three things, which are like the main keys for me when I teach leadership. It's having more clarity, getting the clarity that you need. What don't I know? What's not right? What's not working? What is working and what I need to shift? And what are the actions I need to take to get there? The second thing is courage. So many business owners open their business with courage and then it gets lost. They start doing the same thing they've been doing for 10 years, not making different moves, not investing in their people, in their marketing themselves. And the third one is commitment. I see so many business owners lacking in the commitment that they first had when they were at the kitchen table, when they were talking to their spouse, when they were, at dinner with their friends saying, I've got this idea, I'm going to start this business. And there was that excitement, that commitment to winning and that growth. And they've lost it because they've gotten banged up a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, those three things, clarity, courage, and commitment, is what a lot of the tradespeople who are trying to jump into entrepreneurship are missing. Let's slow things down. When you think about a Formula One race, every race car has to stop at the pit and change their tires and do whatever they do. You know how it takes 30 seconds to do all that type of stuff because they got
12 people doing it.
They got 12 people doing it, right? And they've been practicing, like that pit crew practices that day in and day out. That's what they get paid for. That one guy who takes off sorry, I don't know cars a lot, but like it takes off the bolts of the wheels. That's what he is a wizard at. And so a lot of times we forget to just keep practicing and get really good at what we do. And we get sold this idea of entrepreneurship that for me, it should be leadership before entrepreneurship. Let's lead, and then you can grow to that level.
Yeah, I think they're fascinated with the word.
Yes.
Literally the word.
Yes.
And, all my friends are entrepreneurs. Well, okay, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
And are they clear? And are they all of these things that you're talking about right now? But they're fascinated with the word. It has something magical about it. And they don't realize it's work.
Yeah. I think that's what the word, I love that you said that because I've mentioned this a couple of times and some people have disagreed with me. But the word entrepreneur does have this sexy buzz to it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur. No, you're not.
No.
And guess what? It's perfectly fine to not be an entrepreneur yet. You've got to work your way up. It's like if I was a dishwasher at a restaurant and I started calling myself a chef. Like, no, you're not.
Right.
I learned the tactics to become one. I'm not saying you can't be one. You won't get there, but you've got to know where you stand. Having the vision of an entrepreneur is great, but know where you stand, because if not, you skip the steps of building this great business so that you can step into true entrepreneurship.
Yeah, people forget when you talk about being a chef, it came to mind is that Gordon Ramsay does not do this alone.
Yeah.
He does, I don't know how many restaurants he has. I don't know how many, stars he has, but he also has investors. He also has a board of directors. And a lot of people have that whole thing before they go into, I'm an entrepreneur, because he is a chef, but he is also an entrepreneur. But
Correct.
This doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And he started very small. He learned from somebody else. I can't remember, David White or something like that in France. And you work your way up and you suffer along the way, most likely for a while. And then you become big. And then people go, well, look, he's that, I can do that. Maybe you can. Maybe.
I think that a lot of times as we go into business, we do have this dream of becoming a Gordon Ramsay or a Jeff Bezos. And there's a possibility. There's some outliers out there, of course, but there's a possibility to do very, very well. The only issue is that you can't do very, very well if you're doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, to the small business owner who's listening to this, if you didn't go to school for accounting, stop doing your books. Give it to somebody who can help you. I'll give you a great example. I was on a call with a client today, and he told me he's got a brick and mortar store and one of his team members slipped and fell. And he's talking about what he's doing. And I stopped him and I said, hey, have you spoken to an HR specialist? No, we've had this before. I said, listen, my friend, you didn't go to school for HR. You have no idea what you're doing. You're making the assumption that you are. Don't be cheap. Pay somebody $250 and just get the advice that you need to move forward to be in compliance and safe for yourself and your team member. I can't tell you how many people do their books and they screw them up, and we have to go back and fix them all.
Yeah, because that they're not a numbers person. They're something else.
Yeah.
But they're unwilling to establish that clarity because they want to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly. Or, I can't spend $250 right now to get my books, and you can't afford not to. Because if you don't have the financial clarity, I'll give you another great example. I said, great, can I see your books? They said, yeah, it's 4 months behind. I said, why in God's name are your business financials 4 months behind? And he said, I haven't gotten caught up yet. And I said, you're doing this? He said, yeah. I said, you have 32 employees. You have 3 locations. Why are you doing your own bookkeeping? And just because I've always done it.
I remember a long time ago, I had a client who was a doctor, and those are almost the worst people in the world because they know nothing about business. And I went into the business to figure out what was going on, and he wasn't taking a salary. I said, what do you mean you're not taking a salary? Well, there's never enough money. Okay, so we worked up to, somehow I got him a salary, and we worked up to that, but he wasn't letting his bookkeeper, quote unquote, do her job.
Yeah.
He kept interfering.
Yeah. Micromanaging.
Oh my God. And that's the worst thing in the world that a manager can do. And if the manager is a doctor, that's even worse.
Well, that's the difference between managing and leading. Leaders can give off these tasks to other people because they trust that those people are smarter than them at these tasks. They can hold them accountable so that altogether everybody grows. But this notion of, I know how to do everything, is ridiculous. And the notion of, I'm doing it to save money, is even crazier. Because it's costing you money. Because you're most likely not doing it right.
Yeah, I remember that. I have memories of that coming back into my head, and I want to get them gone because it's been quite a long time that they've been there, and it's like, I don't need his issues anymore. Yeah. But anyway, okay, so how do we establish clarity? That's so what
one is just by telling the truth. You've got to tell the truth in all aspects of the business, and not just the business, but your life as well. And, I had to get massive clarity probably about 10 years ago. I was 7 months newlywed, came home, wife had made dinner, and I was eating and she came to sit, and she was crying. Like I had seen her like crying. I said, babe, like what's going on? She said, no, just go ahead and continue your dinner. I said, I'm really sorry. I know I'm only 7 months into marriage, but if I was to continue my dinner, I think I would sleep on the couch, or, it's like, it's just not, I'm new to this, but this is not sounding right. And she said some words that hurt me, that pierced me. But it made me get very clear. She said, Yigal, we have a nice house, nice car. We take nice vacations, but I didn't get married to be alone.
Oh, okay.
And first I was angry. I'm like, what are you talking about? But then I realized that I was lying to myself. I would come home at 8:00 every night. I'd have dinner, jump on the couch, watch TV. We had next to no intimacy, no communication. I was 40 pounds overweight. Because of the overweightness, I was not focused at work. My team was feeling it. And I had to just be very, very honest with myself with what was happening. And in the same, probably like in the 10-day span, my father, who had 12 stores, 180 employees, 59, was diagnosed with Parkinson's and dementia. And he always talked about, I'm going to travel with my grandkids and your mom and you guys when I'm done and when I'm older and, in the future. And within 5 years, excuse the term, he couldn't wipe his own butt. He had caregivers. And it just made me really realize that if I don't do things the way they need to be done in business and in life, then I'm going to go insane. You talk about sanity on this show. I'm going to silently go insane. And I wasn't okay with that. So that's when I looked in the mirror and I said, Yigal, things need to change. I got a trainer, went to the gym. I started coming home earlier and building a better team, communicating with my wife more, and figuring out what wasn't working. And my business grew 500%.
That's amazing. Well, bless her that she had the courage to say that to you.
100%. And sometimes it doesn't take somebody to say it to us. We know what's happening. We just need to pause and write down what's not working. And there's 4 areas of life I teach so that it's just simple. There's connections, which are your relationships. There's condition, which is your health. There's currency, which is your money. And there's conviction, which is if you're spiritual, could be your spirituality, or it could be your self-confidence, like your inner strength. And what you do is you write down what's not working in these categories for me. Yes, we're blessed. Yes, things are going well. Yes. But we also have to be real with ourselves and say, what's not working here? Then we write down, what is it that we want? I want to lose 40 pounds. I want to be more intimate with my wife and have better communication. I want my money to grow by X dollars, whatever that is. And then all we do, John, is we write one action that we need to take. Just one. Not a to-do list, not a big thing, just one action. An example of that for me was get a trainer. That was my action. Because the trainer was going to train me how to get healthy, how to eat. They were going to have me show up at the gym at the right time. Because if I was trying to learn how to lift weights and how to go run and how to eat, I was going to fail. It just wasn't for me. So you take one action that will move the needle massively. And that's how you get massive clarity.
That's right. Okay. Unlocktheleader.com. This is the place for you to go, listeners, please, and take an assessment. Look at all of the information that Yigal Adato is providing you. Make a list. Know that you're not an entrepreneur yet. You may not be an entrepreneur yet, but there are steps to do that. And I think that the Unlock the Leader is going to have some insights for that. And then decide what you want to do. Have some clarity about what you want to do. Tell the truth about what you're doing. This is really important because I think entrepreneurship comes, I've taken notes at the same time here. Okay, so it's more clarity, courage, and then commitment. So this is what you have to do to be the leader in your life. What else can we tell the audience, Yigal?
I want to just explain the Unlock the Leader concept really quickly. I don't believe that leaders are made or born. I believe that they're unlocked. Things have happened in your life. I'll give you a great example. The last 2.5 years of my life, my mom had a stroke and she can't speak. My father passed away. We had a third daughter, which was a miracle baby. We're not supposed to have kids naturally. And these events in your life, they lock up different aspects of leadership inside you. And so in the Unlock the Leader, and what we teach is that when you have the right key, you're going to keep getting locked up, by the way, in your life. Things are going to happen. But if you have the right key and you know where to place it, you can unlock it much faster and move forward. That's what Unlock the Leader is all about.
I know that you're at plenty of places. You're on all social media, and then you're on several websites. And one of them is epicsmallbusiness.com and then unlocktheleader.com. And what would you like to tell our audience today that they should do first thing?
So first and foremost is get clarity. Know it's not working. I think that a lot of business owners say I need to fix my business first and then I'll lead. And so for those of you who think that way, go to epicsmallbusiness.com. My book is there. It's a download. It's going to help you, cut the excuse of having to build up your business first. But the last comment I want to make, Joanne, is that, leading with baggage is misleading. You can't expect to come into work, to your home with lack of clarity, lack of consistency, lack of commitment, and expect others to perform, but you bring in all the baggage and hope that everything turns out well. And that's exactly and precisely why you've got to become a better leader. You've got to unlock your leadership and do that work first. And I promise you, when you do that, other aspects of your life will get better.
Okay, everybody. Yigal Adato, an expert in helping create leaders, from small business owners, from managers to maybe the magic word, entrepreneurs. I want to thank you for being here today, Yigal, and helping our audience. And I'm sure you have.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been an honor.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project Podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.